AITA for refusing to give my sister my home office for her wedding planning, which led to her arrest for fraud. Hey friends! Got a sec? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit subscribe. It's quick for you, but it really means a lot to us. Alright, let's dive into today's story. Original post, posted to our /am_ithasshole. I, 26M, never thought I'd be writing here, but I'm at my wit's end and need outside perspective. This situation has been building for weeks, and I honestly don't know if I'm being unreasonable or if my family has lost their collective minds. I work as a software architect for a major tech company. 2 years ago, after getting promoted to a fully remote position, I purchased my first home, a modest 3-bedroom house in the suburbs. It was everything I'd worked for since graduating college. The previous owners had converted the garage into a beautiful office space with built-in shelving, perfect lighting, and even a separate entrance. This was the main selling point for me, as I needed a professional space for video conferences with international clients and a quiet environment for coding. My parents, Robert, 52M, and Patricia, 50F, live about 20 minutes away. My younger sister Emily, 22F, still lives with them while finishing her degree in marketing. We've always been a close family, maybe too close, as this story will demonstrate. 3 weeks ago, Emily got engaged to her boyfriend Nathan, 24M. They've been dating for 2 years, and honestly, he's a decent guy. I was happy for them. The wedding is planned for 8 months from now, which seemed reasonable. Then came the family dinner that changed everything. My mother called last Tuesday, insisting I come over for a family meeting. When I arrived, my parents, Emily, and Nathan were all sitting in the living room with what I can only describe as rehearsed expressions of excitement. "Michael," my mother began, using her special occasion voice, "we have the most wonderful idea for Emily's wedding preparations." My father jumped in immediately. "You know how stressful wedding planning can be, and Emily needs a proper space to organize everything." Emily clasped her hands together, eyes sparkling. "And your office would be absolutely perfect. It has all that natural light, the built-in storage, and it's so peaceful. I could set up my planning station there, meet with vendors, store my dress." I sat there, stunned, as they continued outlining their wonderful idea. They weren't asking me to let Emily use my office occasionally. They wanted me to completely vacate it for the next 6 months so she could transform it into what she called her bridal preparation sanctuary. "But that's where I work," I said, still processing the audacity of the request. "I have client meetings. I have 3 monitors set up, my server equipment, my entire professional life is in that room." My mother waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, Michael, you can work from anywhere with those laptop things. Set up in the kitchen or your bedroom. It's only temporary." 6 months isn't temporary, Mom. That's half a year of my professional life disrupted. Emily's face crumpled into an expression I recognized from childhood, the pre-tears manipulation face. "I just thought my big brother would want to help make my wedding special. This is supposed to be the happiest time of my life." Nathan, to his credit, looked uncomfortable. "Maybe we could find another solution, Em." But Emily shot him a look that silenced him immediately. "No, this is perfect. Michael's always talking about how successful he is, how well he's doing. I thought family meant something to him." My father leaned forward, using his stern business voice. "Son, family helps family. When you needed money for your college textbooks, who helped you?" "I paid you back every penny with interest," I reminded him. "That's not the point. The point is we were there for you. Now it's your turn to be there for Emily." The conversation deteriorated from there. I tried explaining that my office wasn't just a luxury, it was essential for my work. I offered alternatives. I'd pay for a co-working space for Emily, help her set up a planning area in our parents' spacious basement, even contribute extra money toward the wedding so she could rent a proper venue planning space. Every suggestion was shot down. Emily had her heart set on my office specifically. She'd apparently been planning this since getting engaged, already Pinterest boarding how she'd redecorate it. "Redecorate?" I asked, horrified. "Well, yes," Emily said, as if it were obvious. "I need to create the right ambience. Don't worry, I'll change it back when I'm done." I left that night without agreeing to anything, but the family pressure campaign began immediately. Daily texts from my mother about how disappointed she was. Calls from my father about manning up and supporting the family. Emily started posting passive-aggressive Instagram stories about when family lets you down, and some people only care about money. The breaking point came yesterday. I came home from a coffee shop, where I'd been working to think clearly, to find Emily and my mother in my office, measuring the windows for new curtains. "How did you get in?" I demanded. I still have my emergency key, my mother said, not even looking ashamed. We just wanted to see if Emily's vision board would fit on the north wall. I asked them to leave immediately. Emily burst into tears, my mother called me selfish, and they stormed out. But not before Emily said something that chilled me. Fine, but don't think this changes the nursery plan. What nursery plan? I asked. Emily smiled through her tears. Well, after the wedding, Nathan and I will need a nursery. This room is perfect for that too. We're planning to start trying right away. Apparently, in their minds, my office wasn't just being borrowed for 6 months of wedding planning. It was being permanently reassigned as Emily's personal life event space, first a bridal suite, then a nursery for the children she doesn't even have yet. I changed my locks that night. This morning, I woke up to 47 messages in the family group chat. My extended family has been recruited. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all telling me I'm ruining Emily's wedding, that I'm selfish, that family should come first. My breaking point was when my grandmother, who I adore, called me crying, saying she was disappointed that I wouldn't help my sister during the most important time of her life. So Reddit, AITA for refusing to give up my home office for my sister's wedding planning and future nursery? My parents think I'm being selfish and materialistic. Emily says I'm ruining her life. Nathan has texted me privately saying he understands, but asking me to reconsider for the sake of family peace. I'm starting to feel like I'm going crazy. This is MY house that I paid for, where I conduct MY job that requires that specific space. But the guilt is eating me alive. Update 1, 2 weeks later. Thank you to everyone who responded to my original post. Your comments gave me the confidence to stand firm, though I'll admit the situation has escalated beyond what I could have imagined. After changing my locks, I installed security cameras. This proved to be a wise decision, as I caught my mother and Emily attempting to use a ladder to access the office's separate entrance window 3 days later. The footage of them arguing about who should climb through while holding fabric samples would be hilarious if it weren't so insane. I sent the video to the family group chat with a simple message: "This is breaking and entering. The next attempt will result in police involvement." The explosion was immediate. My father called me screaming about threatening your mother with prison. Emily posted on Facebook about how her brother was choosing material possessions over family love. The post went semi-viral in our community, with over 200 comments from people I've never met calling me various names. But here's where things got interesting. Nathan reached out asking to meet for coffee. I agreed, curious about what Emily's fiancé had to say. "Michael," he began nervously, "I need to tell you something. Emily's been planning this since before we got engaged. Apparently, Emily had been eyeing my house since I bought it. She'd told Nathan that I'd promised to let them live in the guest room after marriage to save money. She'd drawn up floor plans showing how they'd convert my office into their nursery, my guest room into their master bedroom, and eventually convince me to move out so they could take over the mortgage. She said you were lonely and would be happy to have us there," Nathan explained. "But your reaction at dinner, that wasn't someone who knew about this plan." I showed Nathan text messages from Emily dating back months where she'd made no mention of any of this. He looked sick. "There's more," he said. "The wedding venue she picked? She put the deposit down on your credit card." What? Nathan pulled up emails on his phone. Emily had apparently memorized my credit card information from a time I'd let her use it for an online purchase. She charged $3,000 to my card for a venue deposit, planning to guilt me into paying for it as a wedding gift when the bill came due. I immediately called my credit card company and reported the fraud. Nathan said he understood and even offered to be a witness if needed. That evening, Nathan confronted Emily. According to him, via text updates as it happened, she initially denied everything, then claimed I'd promised to pay for the venue, then finally admitted she'd used my card but insisted I owed her for all the emotional trauma I'd caused by not giving her my office. Nathan called off the engagement that night. The family explosion that followed was nuclear. Emily called me sobbing, saying I'd ruined her life by turning Nathan against her. My mother accused me of sabotaging the wedding out of jealousy. My father threatened to disown me. The extended family took sides, with most siding with Emily based on her version of events. I posted the credit card fraud documentation and Nathan's testimony in the family group chat. Several relatives went quiet. Others doubled down, saying I should have just paid it as a gift anyway. Then came the real kicker. My grandmother called again, but this time she wasn't crying. "Michael," she said firmly, "I've been doing some thinking and some investigating. Did you know your mother did the exact same thing to my sister Rose back in 1979? Apparently, my mother had a history of this behavior. She'd convinced the family to pressure great-aunt Rose into giving up her apartment for my mother's first wedding planning, then tried to keep it afterward. Rose eventually moved across the country to escape the family drama. "Don't you dare let them do to you what they did to Rose," my grandmother said. "I'm too old to keep my mouth shut anymore. You keep your office, and you keep your boundaries." With my grandmother's support, some family members started reaching out privately, admitting they'd been pressured to take Emily's side and sharing their own stories of her entitled behavior over the years. But Emily wasn't done. Update 2, 1 month later. The past month has been a masterclass in escalation and manipulation. After Nathan broke off the engagement, Emily went into what I can only describe as a scorched earth campaign. First, she tried to win Nathan back by claiming she was pregnant. Nathan, wise to her tactics now, requested a doctor's confirmation. When she couldn't provide one, he blocked her on everything and moved back with his parents temporarily. Unable to accept the breakup, Emily pivoted her strategy. If she couldn't have my office for wedding planning, she'd take it for depression recovery. She showed up at my house with 2 suitcases, claiming she needed to stay with me because she was too traumatized to live with our parents. I found her trying to pick the lock on my office door at 3 a.m. that first night. When I confronted her, she claimed she was sleepwalking due to stress. I told her to leave immediately. She refused, saying she'd established residency and I'd have to legally evict her. Here's the thing about working in tech. You develop a network of people in various fields. One quick call to a lawyer friend clarified that she had not, in fact, established any form of residency in the 12 hours she'd been there. The security footage of her attempting to break into my office also didn't help her case. I gave her 1 hour to pack and leave or I'd call the police. She left, but not before stealing several items from my house. Nothing valuable enough to pursue legally, but sentimental things she knew would hurt. A coffee mug from my college graduation. A photo of us as kids. My favorite hoodie. The family pressure intensified. My mother started calling my employer, claiming I was having a mental breakdown and needed time off. Fortunately, my boss knows me well and called me directly about the concerning calls from a woman claiming to be your mother. I had to get HR involved, which was mortifying. They sent a cease and desist letter to my parents' house. My father's response was to threaten to sue me for defamation and emotional distress. That's when I made the decision to go nuclear myself. I compiled everything. The security footage of the break-in attempts. The credit card fraud documentation. Text messages showing the conspiracy to take over my house. And Nathan's written statement about Emily's long-term deception. Screenshots of Emily's lies about pregnancy. The cease and desist letter from my employer. And my grandmother's statement about the family's historical pattern. I sent it all to a lawyer and started proceedings for a restraining order against Emily and my parents. But Emily had one more card to play. She started dating Nathan's best friend, David, who she'd apparently been cultivating as a backup plan. Within 2 weeks of dating, she announced their engagement on Facebook, tagged at my house's location, claiming they were planning their future in their new home. David messaged me saying Emily had told him I'd agreed to sell them the house at a discount as an apology for ruining her first engagement. He'd already given her $5,000 as a down payment. I met with David and showed him everything. The poor guy had been completely taken in. Emily had told him Nathan was abusive, that I was jealous of her happiness, and that our parents were helping them buy my house as an early wedding gift. David confronted Emily with the evidence. Her response was to claim that everyone was conspiring against her because they were jealous of her beauty and success. She's unemployed and living at home, for context. The restraining order was granted after Emily showed up at my office, my actual workplace this time, and had to be removed by security while screaming that she was going to take everything from me like I took everything from her. My parents were not included in the final restraining order, but they received a formal warning about harassment. The family is completely divided. Team Michael consists of my grandmother, Nathan, surprisingly Aunt Jennifer, who revealed Emily had tried to steal her wedding dress years ago claiming it was promised to her, and a handful of cousins who've had their own run-ins with Emily. Team Emily consists of my parents, my mother's sisters, and various relatives who either believe her stories or are too afraid to rock the boat. I thought this was the end. I was wrong. Final update, 2 months after the previous update. I genuinely thought the restraining order would be the end of this saga. Emily had moved on to her third fiancé in as many months, a guy she met online who lives 3 states away. My parents had gone low contact after the legal warnings, and I was finally able to work in peace. Then, last Tuesday, I came home to find my front door open. My heart dropped. I immediately called 911 while checking my security app. The cameras showed my mother's car in the driveway but no sign of forced entry. Then I realized, They must have made a copy of my key before I changed the locks. The police arrived within minutes. We entered together to find my mother, Emily, violating her restraining order, and a man I'd never seen before in my office. They were measuring the walls while Emily directed furniture placement on what would be the nursery. Here's where it gets surreal. Emily was visibly pregnant. Not maybe pregnant, but clearly showing. "Oh good, you're home," Emily said brightly, as if we were still on speaking terms. "This is Marcus, my husband. We eloped last weekend." Marcus, who looked about 40 and deeply confused, extended his hand. "You must be Michael. Emily said you were gifting us the house as a wedding present. Thank you so much, we really appreciate it." The police officers looked at me, then at Emily, then back at me. "Ma'am, you're violating a restraining order," one officer said. Emily's face went through several expressions before settling on indignant. "That's impossible. This is my house. Tell them, Mom." My mother jumped in. "This is a family matter, officers. My son promised his sister this house when she got married. We're just here to take measurements." I provided the officers with the restraining order documentation, proof of home ownership, and the security footage. Emily was arrested on the spot for violating the restraining order and criminal trespass. My mother was given a criminal trespass warning. Marcus stood there in shock as Emily was led away in handcuffs, screaming about her pregnancy rights and how I was endangering her unborn child. After the police left with Emily and my mother, Marcus and I had a very illuminating conversation. He'd met Emily online 6 weeks ago. She'd told him she was a successful real estate developer who owned multiple properties, including this house which she was letting her brother rent. They'd eloped in Vegas 5 days ago. She was pregnant, but based on the timeline, it couldn't be his. She said her ex-fiancé Nathan was abusive and her brother was helping her hide assets from him in the divorce, Marcus explained, looking increasingly pale. I pulled up Nathan's Instagram, which showed him happily on vacation with his new girlfriend in Costa Rica, posted 3 days ago. Very much not married to or divorced from Emily. Then I asked the million-dollar question, did she ask you for money? Marcus's silence was answer enough. He'd given her $50,000 as an investment in her real estate business. She'd also opened several credit cards in his name for the business and maxed them out on nursery furniture, which was apparently being delivered to my address later that week. I gave Marcus copies of all my documentation, including the credit card fraud she'd perpetrated against me. He left looking like he'd aged 10 years in an hour. The next day, I received a call from the district attorney's office. Emily was being charged with multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, criminal trespass, and violating a restraining order. Marcus had filed his own charges and was seeking an annulment. But the story doesn't end there. My grandmother called with shocking news. She'd hired a private investigator to look into Emily's activities over the past few months. The investigator discovered 1. Emily had been running the scam on multiple men simultaneously, claiming to own my house and collecting down payments or investments from at least 4 different men. 2. She wasn't actually pregnant. She'd been using a prosthetic pregnancy belly and fake ultrasounds she bought online. 3. She'd applied for business loans using my address and forged documents claiming to own my property. 4. She'd created a fake real estate company website featuring photos of my house and several other properties in the neighborhood, which she was selling to multiple buyers. The investigation revealed she'd scammed approximately $200,000 from various victims over the past 3 months. Emily was denied bail and is currently awaiting trial on multiple felony charges. The prosecution contacted me as a witness, and I provided them with everything I have. My parents, faced with the undeniable evidence of Emily's crimes, finally broke their silence. My mother called me sobbing, not to apologize, but to beg me to pay for Emily's lawyer. When I refused, my father sent me a formal letter stating I was no longer their son and would be removed from their will. I responded by sending them a bill for the therapy I've needed because of this situation. The extended family has been eerily quiet since Emily's arrest made the local news. The headline, "Local Woman Arrested in Elaborate Real Estate Fraud Scheme," accompanied by her mugshot, has a way of ending discussions about whether I was overreacting. Nathan reached out last week. He wanted to thank me for standing up to Emily and potentially saving him from years of manipulation and abuse. He and his new girlfriend are considering moving to Costa Rica permanently for his job, and honestly, I don't blame him for wanting to put an ocean between himself and this mess. Marcus is pursuing annulment and criminal charges. 3 other victims have come forward. Emily's fake pregnancy was exposed when she was given a medical examination at the jail. As for me, I still have my home office. It's become something of a fortress of solitude, a symbol of boundaries held and manipulation resisted. I've upgraded my security system, gotten to know my neighbors better, they were shocked by the arrests happening on their quiet street, and started therapy to process the realization that my family dynamics were far more toxic than I'd ever admitted to myself. My grandmother has become my closest family ally. She comes over for dinner every Sunday, and we don't talk about Emily or my parents. We talk about her childhood, her travels, her late husband. She told me she's proud of me for breaking the cycle she watched destroy other family members. Your Aunt Rose would be proud, she said last Sunday. She never got her apartment back, but she got her freedom. You managed both. The house is quieter now. No unexpected visitors, no family drama, no one trying to break into my office. Just me, my work, and the peace of mind that comes from standing your ground, even when it costs you the family you thought you had. I've learned that family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about respect, boundaries, and genuine love that doesn't come with strings attached. My real family now consists of my grandmother, a few cousins who reached out in support, the friends who've stood by me, and even Nathan, who checks in regularly to make sure I'm okay. Emily's trial is set for next month. I'll testify if needed, but otherwise, I'm moving forward. I'm considering selling this house and moving somewhere fresh, where no one knows this story, where I can work in my home office without remembering the chaos that once tried to consume it. But for now, I'm here in my office, writing this final update while looking out at the peaceful street where so much drama unfolded. The built-in shelves still hold my books, not Emily's wedding binders. The walls display my diplomas and certificates, not her vision boards. My desk supports my monitors and keyboard, not her schemes and lies. I won, but it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like survival. To anyone reading this who's dealing with family manipulation, boundary violations, or emotional blackmail, document everything. Stand your ground. Get legal help when needed. And remember that no is a complete sentence, even when it's your family asking. Especially when it's your family asking. Edit. Since many have asked, yes, I'm keeping the house for now. Every morning when I walk into my office, it's a reminder that boundaries are worth defending. And yes, I've had the locks changed again, upgraded to a smart lock system, and installed a security gate on the office's separate entrance. Can never be too careful. Edit 2. For those asking about my parents, they've made no attempt to contact me since the formal disownment letter. Mutual acquaintances tell me they're maintaining Emily's innocence and claiming I set her up. They're apparently telling people I planted evidence and manipulated Marcus and the other victims into pressing charges. The level of delusion is impressive, even by their standards. Final edit. Thank you to everyone for the support and advice. This will be my last update on this situation. I need to focus on healing and moving forward. Whatever happens with Emily's trial, whatever my parents choose to believe, whatever the extended family decides, none of it changes the fact that I protected my home, my career, and my sanity. That's enough. Take care of yourselves, and remember, you don't owe anyone access to your life, your space, or your peace of mind, regardless of who they are or what they claim you owe them.